If you know about Authority X Pro, if you're using it, if you're seeing this, you're probably using it. I'm only showing this to a few people. You know the power of it. You know that it has given you clarity. It gives you advice. It gives you direction. It also gives you scripts and different, very specific guidelines to use. And I've been interviewing a few people in the last few days about their experience with it and posting some of those on YouTube, and some will come out in a few days as well. And it's kind of the same pattern where they were unclear about something, in this case, their offer or how to sell it or how to get customers, etc., because it's my AI sales tool. And with a few messages back and forth, they got a lot of clarity. Then using it almost daily, they got even more. And then something happened. And in these cases, money came in. So if you've experienced that yourself, you know what I'm talking about. If you're in the middle of experiencing that, where you have a lot of clarity and you're on your way to making money from it, you know what I'm talking about. So that is clear. And I think it's for a few reasons. One is the underlying technology, the AI, the combination of how I've trained this, because I have, I don't know, 4 or 5 custom chat GPTs, so custom GPTs from chat GPT. I've had those for about a year plus. They are great. I mean, really cool, and do one thing really well each. And I haven't taken them down. I think they're fantastic. I use them mostly for free content. Not even as lead magnets, because honestly, I don't get to hold on to the email addresses. I use them because they work. They're helpful. But they really do focus on one main thing in doing that well. Pieces of the sales process or pieces of the content process, etc., or offer process. AXP, Authority X Pro, it feels like it knows you. It feels like every time you use it, it knows you even better. It's because of that memory. It's the training, it's the underlying tech, it's the memory, the persistent memory. It's the kind of knowing what my audience needs and delivering that. And then learning from usage and adding more and more, especially on the certified side. On the certified side, adding the things that make it just absolutely out of this world. And since I launched this about 50 days ago, it was less than 8 weeks ago. Since I launched it, about once or twice a day, someone reaches out to me and asks me, how can I have my own? How do I do this? And the truth of the matter is, and I'll be very frank with you because I always am, the truth is you could create something in the vein of this with prompting. You could figure that out because I think you can do almost anything you put your mind to. But I'm going to also tell you that it has been, if we looked in the dashboard of what I've been working on, it has been, I mean, probably more than 1,000 prompts. Probably. I can probably check that in a second. More than 1,000 prompts. I've been training it for, or putting together the training for it for more than 8 months, probably 9 at this point, because I think it was 8, it was 7 months when I started. So yeah, a little over 8 months now. And then I've been working on it in earnest, the training of it for the past 2 months. So there's a ton that goes into it that I can't just make a prompts in the prompt shop and say, hey, go have at it, or even give you a prompt that I sell for $1,000 and say go for it. It just doesn't work that way. You know, I could probably sell a bunch of those, but you would not get the results you want. And I don't want to just take people's money. In addition to that, there are cloud and AI expenses daily, and that is really dependent on the usage. And in a moment, I'll show you exactly kind of how to think about that. But there is that upkeep. And the more people who use it, especially in the trial, the free trial, the more expense there is. But made the decision to make a 24-hour trial, which, I went from 3 messages trial because they're so powerful each message to 24 hours, where some people have sent as many as 240 messages in 24 hours. It's 10 an hour on average. Um, so you have all these pieces, you kind of what's making it so special. Then of course there's behind the scenes special sauce, the 120 or so far modules and training and all of that stuff in the back that you just can't replicate that from me, even if you tried, and so on, all of that. But I've had people reach out and say, "Can I have my own?" Not the certification, because certification lets you use my training, my trained AXP for your clients, which is amazing, which is, I'm bowled over by it every day. What they're asking, and what you may have already asked me, is can I have my own version of an Authority X Pro, not Authority X Pro, but of something like this that is my AI clone, that is this robust, this customized for my client, and that I could sell on my own white label, and it would be my product, an offer or part of an offer. And so far, I've said that it would be $30,000 to do that with me, and I have had conversations with people about that. And I know very specifically the types of people who should have this. And like the no-brainer list is just kind of like anybody who has a large audience, where you already teach them, you already sell courses and have YouTube videos, or you have other types of content. You have IP, you have people who trust you, and who, if you sell coaching, if you sell masterminds, any of that, and if there's anybody who either can afford your high ticket and would just love to have one-on-one 24/7 access to you, your clone, that is so similar to what you would advise, like for 1,000 or 2,000 a year, like that is in the pocket. Another type of person that's the client of yours would be someone who does pay a high ticket, and maybe this comes with the high ticket. Maybe this is just like sends them over the edge of, oh yeah, there's no brainer here. So you're selling stuff for 10K, 20K, 30K, 50K, and they get access to this. And maybe no one else does, or maybe others do, but they have to pay 5K or 2K or whatever the case may be. That's like, I can just think in my mind's eye of 30 people right now who I know personally who could use that. And it's an absolute no-brainer, 30,000 plus maintenance and plus the cloud and AI, right? Well, there's this other group that I've been ideating on for and ruminating on for 8 weeks. And it started at Your First Million Live when I looked at this group in person. And I thought to myself, I want there to be a way for this group to have this for their audience too. Not everybody. No, it's not everybody should do this. The certification is like the ultimate, like if you have the certification, you really don't need to do anything else, just focus. But there are some people I know, when I think about what their niche is and who their audience and clients are, and customers are, I think about like, actually this would be a really amazing core offer or part of an add-on for an offer. Now it would have to be, I'll show you in a minute some calculations, because it would have to be something that the cost of this in the back end is give or take $400 per person, per user. So it'd have to be something where that made sense. And I don't mean trial users, I mean like paid users. It'd have to be, this is an add-on, somebody's paying me 4 grand, they get this bundled in, and it makes sense per year, right? It's 400 per year, because it's based on usage and average usage. Or it'd have to be where you're willing to sell it for $1,000 a year, $2,000 a year, 1,500 a year, or more. But if you feel that way, then this will be very interesting to you. And I know there are a lot of people who fit this criteria, and I feel like if right at this moment, you know if this is you or not. If this doesn't feel like it aligns, if it feels like one more thing, if it feels like $30,000, oh my God, any of that, you probably are not the right person for this. And that's okay. Maybe it'll be something in 6 months that'll make sense to you. But what I decided is that the 30,000, and someone asked me about this very recently in Inner Circle. I decided that the 30,000 and I even did like a 15,000 for Inner Circle members. I decided if I'm going to do this, which I first had to decide to do, that I wanted to have a different payment structure because I know as the person who has used this and launched this on my own to my own audience, I know how life changing it is and like offer changing it is and ecosystem changing it is to have this type of thing. So what I wanted to do is make it more accessible at the beginning, the setup and the launch of it, and then payment each month that makes it more manageable because when you see it in action and people start paying you for it or you start using it as add-ons, you can see the value. And let's say 3 months in, no one's buying from you, you didn't have that huge chunk of, cash that you had to put up front, and it's not really working for you. You had an investment, but it was more manageable, and it was a good risk, a healthy risk, an investment to make, and you can still kind of figure out what you're doing. And if at any point, monthly, you could shut it down, and you wouldn't have to pay me, and you wouldn't have to pay the usage fees, the cloud and AI usage fees. So I like that idea. So what I'm going to show you, I'll show you exactly what I'm referring to. This page shows Authority X Pro. So just to kind of remind you, if you haven't seen it in a while, the sales page, because you're signed in. This is the sales page. I've changed some of the copy at the beginning, and I don't have that hanging trial banner right now. Make it really clean. And then there's, a couple of videos. There's a lot of copy, a lot of examples, testimonials that were added after I started. Of course, these weren't there at the beginning. Just been adding them as I go. And this is what I would do for you, of course. And then we get down to pricing and there's pricing. You can sign up through, if you have a Stripe account, the money just comes to your Stripe account when someone pays for it. And it just goes on and on here, right? And it's all like this took me like weeks and weeks and weeks to get, and I'll change it again because I'm optimizing. And there's FAQ, and this is all like really intentional. So I want you to, I made this kind of mock version, and it's not Authority X Pro. I just want you to understand it's not a wrapper or, on top of Authority X Pro. It's a wrapper on top of the underlying tech that makes Authority X Pro work. So this is for someone I made up named Babs Testerton. And I saw this video today on YouTube, and I used some of it to kind of give it a little bit of personality and just as a test. And then it will take me, if I were really doing this for Babs, it would take me several hours over a few days to finish it. But I wanted you to see what it would look like. So I just chose me and the AI. I chose different colors, a little bit of different font, because Babs is a different kind of lady than I am. I still kept the 24-hour pass, but I would think Babs probably wants a 3-hour pass or something to that effect. Or maybe she doesn't even want a trial. But I think the trials, because of what I've learned, I can tell you what works, and the trials do work very well. And then I put another video up here because hers is all about her Trojan horse playbook, to build a Trojan horse inside of a video for your YouTube channel. It's all about it. And you notice over here, I mean, any of this can be customized. Any of it can be customized. But I do the same here because I did this I spent about an hour just plugging this in just to show you whatever your situation is, whatever your aesthetic, your brand colors, your logo, your videos, your photographs, all of that starts to really get have this have its own feel. And then there's a lot of copy, et cetera, and that would be added to as there are testimonials, things like that. And it has a very similar structure because I know the structure works. But this is one that I think is really interesting. So if you think about like how I'm doing my certification right now, the 997 for AXP, which is a launch price, it's going to be normally 1997. And then I also have for 1997, which will normally be 49.97, my certification program. So I'll show you what I mean. On Authority X Pro, what I really have is my AXP certified program where you get client workspaces. And again, if you know, you know, it's the talk of the town. For Babs, I thought, well, she may not want to do a certified situation like I did because I consider myself my first client of this studio, which is what I'm launching here. And she may not want a certification, but the way that you use the dashboard and the workspaces still works for something else. So I said, what would that be? And it was for video. If I were her client, I would want a place where I could, as it says here on the screen, work on up to 20 videos at the same time that are in my pipeline. So I could have 3 videos or 6 videos or whatever, 20. And this is what agencies do. People pay a lot of money to agencies who are doing this, basically, but not even this polished. With dedicated video dashboards. So open up a video. Again, if you've used certified, you know what I'm talking about. You open up a new video new video workspace. It says dashboards, but it really should say workspace. And now you can give it a name and you can do this. And it says organize, track, and ship faster with Babs's Trojan horse framework built into every board for 1997. So you would customize, and I would help you do this. What is that upsell? What is that premium version of your AI, your clone, and how do we adapt it to what will really help that client of yours? And I bet you, if you're still here, you're very much in tune to what that might be, and like the juices are flowing already. So what I did is I've just launched this and I have not, it's not promoted on the front page. I'm not putting this up on my main channel because I can only take on a few people in my pilot. And today I'm opening the pilot. And remember, I've had probably more than 50 people ask me from my ecosystem and from other experts. I've had more than 50 because it's at least once a day I get asked this. And it's been more than 50 days since I launched it. So they ask for this. So there's a list of people who are just in general. So I'll send this video. I probably sent this to you. You may see this as like, oh, remember you asked me about it. Here's the information. I'm also showing this inside of the certification for those members inside of Inner Circle, because obviously Inner Circle members, we've been working on your authority forever. And you can think of this as like your authority AI. And then, I may just have to change the name to it, to that. And then I might put this on one of my small YouTube channels that's for higher ticket, like coaching. So I'll show you just a little bit. It kind of explains everything. You'll get the link here. It's basically the white label that people have been asking for, but it's not even a white label of what I teach, which by the way, if you really, really, really wanted that, there's probably a way to make that happen, but I suggest you do it based on your own methods and frameworks and IP and imagery and everything, because it's just going to be so much more powerful. You can send people to my AXP with your affiliate code if you want people to have AXP, and not call it your own. I think that's the better way to do it. So it says recurring revenue, not hours, not, your audience pays you annually for unlimited access to a coach that sounds exactly like you. It has your domain, and it would be a custom domain, your branding, your pricing. Members never see Authority X, they see you. So let's run the numbers. So there's a calculator here that I think is really helpful, and it's actually inspired me. I've been playing with it for the past 30 minutes, maybe more than that. It just inspired me because it's like I can use this with the Authority X Pro. So right now, I charge 1,000 a year. I'm going to just tell you my personal opinion is not to do monthly. Monthly is really great for people testing the waters, but my personal churn has been horrible with monthly just because people are just not able to afford it. So I'd rather wait longer to get an annual member locked in. And if my other teachings can help them get there, that's great. And the 24-hour trial, I feel very comfortable with, like, everybody's getting something. You don't have to be wealthy or have a lot of money or any money to get something from it. But I'm not going to keep, racing to the bottom when it comes to pricing. So I highly recommend that. That is why I only show you the annual user option here, but you could do what you want. You can do what you want. You also, like I said earlier, you don't even have to charge for it. It can be an add-on that's very exclusive to something that's more expensive as long as the math works. So if you look on the right side here, this is why that math has to work. So um, the 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 studio fee to me to build this, and by the way, it is me building it. As of right now, especially in the pilot, I am the person building it. I'm doing every single step of it with the AI because I did that with AXP, and it takes a while for me to do. It takes a lot of my time, but it is very, very like intuitive to me, and I want to help you as much as possible. And it won't take a ton of time to turn it around. You can be ready in as quickly as a week, depending on what you need. And when you do your onboarding, you'll tell me when you need it. But like a week is the shortest turnaround. Just if you're getting me the information, it's the shortest turnaround. But you could do this and have it ready in a few weeks and launch it in 2 months or at the on your birthday or whatever. It kind of works. So either way, the studio fee to me ends up being 20K for the first year because you're gonna spend 8,000. I know this is tiny. You're going to spend $8,000 on the build and the setup instead of the 30,000 all up front, which is what I was doing before and what I was telling people in conversation. I decided to make it like I don't want it just to be for these like seasoned experts who make 1 million plus a year. It's 8,000 to set it up and build it and have it out the door. And then you pay just $1,000 a month for the licensing and maintenance of it, and I'll continue to optimize it for you. It's not indefinite, which terms of service talk about, but it is very, very reasonable, and we keep upgrading it and up leveling it. So over time, over a 12-year period, that's $20,000. Then what I have done to help you to project how much you might spend on cloud and AI usage is I'm going by experience. I'm going by this is expensive because it is so high quality, but this is literally you will pay literally what it is charged outright. You will not pay any kind of premium on top of that where I'm getting any kickback. So this number actually is sometimes less and may be less for you, but I wanted to give you like the quote unquote worst case scenario so that you're prepared for it. Now, everything's subject to change. 6 months from now, all the, tokens and everything could cost more because it's out of my hands. But this is what the projection is. But think about it like it's based on usage. So if it's being used, that means somebody's paying you most likely. And if it's somebody's paying you, you've charged them more than the cost. So you have that 20,000 for the year. If it's 100 people, you have whatever cost it is, but it's $1 per day per user is how I want you to think about the cost when it comes to the cloud and AI only. Very serious. Like I pay this, so I know. It's not exact. Sometimes it's less, but that's what I want you to think as like, okay, if I'm comfortable with that, then I'm going to move forward. And then the total cost would, in that scenario, would be 56,500. So on this side of things, if we're talking about how much you're bringing in, let's say you have 100 users and they're in that 12-month period, the first 12-month period, and they're paying you $1,000 or so, the 997. Then you would make 100,000. You would subtract these total costs, and you'd make $43,500 profit for a digital product that you build, that I build once, and that put up videos about, promote it on LinkedIn, have it as something that you have in your back pocket on sales calls and in your memberships and keep it moving. Let's say though that you have the same 100 clients, but you charge 1,500, then this number here stays because you have the same number of people using it, but your profit margins go from 44% profit margin to 62% profit margin, and you have 93,000 just like that because you've changed the pricing. And my price for AXP is most likely going to land right here. So if I had 100 users, which I have 260 in the first 7 weeks, if I had 100 users, after the expenses, I would make 72% profit margins at 143. And I mean profit margins off of this. You have your own expenses to take from that. So things start to get really interesting when you play with pricing. Let's say you decided to do $49 a month because you just wanted to, and you're like, I don't want to charge my people, so it's like 600 a year. And let's pretend there was no churn, which is going to be, obviously there's going to be churn, but there's a lot of variables. If somebody does churn, leave in there like in month 3, they also are not costing this expense. So it's kind of okay to keep it apples to apples. All right. So let's say you have 100 people paying you 49, $50 a month. You're going to make almost nothing. You really are. If you had maybe 300 people, it gets much better because because this fixed fee stays the same. My studio fixed fee stays the same for you. So think your profit margins get much better right here, right? But if we just kick this up just by 600, let's just kick it up by $200. So it's 800 a month. We go back to 100. That's much better margins. It's 29% margins right now. At 600, it was only 6 margins. So it went up by quite a bit. And if you kick that up and you said, okay, I sell one of these a day, let's just make it crazy, then you're making 136,000. But let's say you price it at, 1,500 and you sell one a day. Now we're talking about some cash here. Let's say you sell one a day and you charge 2,000. Things are getting really interesting. Now, what would it take to make $1 million? Let's keep it at 2,000 and take it to 500. That would be $1 million. Now, that's not the easiest thing in the world to do. I hope I will sell maybe 1,000 in the next 11, 10, 11 months. I don't know. We'll see. But I definitely have $1 million run rate, and haven't even done any ads. I haven't even really cranked up the promotion outside of my memberships and my current ecosystem. So I haven't gone on stage once about it other than my own event. So who knows what it can eventually be, but we're not going to compare you to me. Yours could be about real estate, or yours could be about being a wellness coach and teaching people that. So let's say it's 1,200 a year. They're paying $100 a month or 1,200 a year. But again, I highly recommend doing the per year. You have 50 members. Again, you put in 8K up front and you're making 21. It's almost like having real estate, really. Someone's paying rent and paying a mortgage. So let's do this. Rent. So let's do this. Let's say that it's 2,000. And if you have an offer, by the way, that you've sold for anywhere between $1,000 and $10,000, you have customers who would pay 2,000 for this, depending on what the transformation is and what exactly you're selling them. And let's say you just really went at it and you sold it to 200 people. It's 307,000. So I could go on and on and on and on and on. I've been playing with this and been inspired by it. And I cranked it up to 3,000 because I know that there's some memberships that are like 300 a month. So What if we cranked it up to 3,000? It was like three, like let's say instead of you just sold it straight out, you sold a container, a membership, something, something where somebody paid you 500 a month to be their coach. They're paying you 500 a month. Maybe they paid you 1,000 up front or 2,000 up front. They're paying you 500 a month. You're in certification, so you're giving them playbooks left and right, but they also get access to this. So they're paying you $6,000 a year on recurring, and you have, let's say you have 40 of those clients. It's 200,000 bucks. Let's say you have 100 of those clients. We're talking more than $500,000 after the expense of it. So the more you can, you don't have to look at it as like, oh, I'm just selling this thing annually or monthly, no monthly. You could say, oh, it makes an offer that I have that is my $10,000 a year mastermind. They get access to this. So they're gonna pay me 10,000. I'm gonna have uh 30 people in my mastermind. That's the real amount you get. It's not only for this, but it's for the holistic mastermind. I have 100-person maximum for mine, and I currently only charge 6,000, which I should charge a lot more. But let's say just the 6,000, I'm talking more than $500,000. Let's say it was more like 10,000, almost $1 million. Let's say it's more like 12,000. They're paying me 1,000 a month, which is not a lot of money when you're getting something very valuable. $12,000 a year they're paying you. Maybe it's $1,000 a month or 10,000 for the year to save 17%. They get a mastermind with you. They do a call every quarter. They meet up. You do a virtual. They get a one-on-one every quarter. They get a virtual every month or every 2 weeks with you and the whole group. Twice a year, you all meet up in person. They pay 1,000 a month or 12 or 10,000 a year, and they get your AI clone access for 24/7 access. You have 100 people like that because you're just cranking, you're making 100 grand a month. Okay. So that's why I think this is super interesting. That I want to, help you figure that out. So in order to get on, there's no list, there's no like application or anything. I'm only showing this to people that I really, like working with. So if you want this, you just click here, you pay for it, and once you pay for it, you'll get an email right after that. It'll link you to an onboarding. Onboarding is where you upload certain things so we can get started, and then we can build it out from there. I want you to also make sure before you purchase that you click on the terms of service and you read them. Terms of service, there's no gotchas. In fact, what I did is I summarized it at the bottom because it is quite long. So at the bottom here, you get the checklist. So payment is required before work begins at $8,000 setup fee. Monthly support is required. So you agree to pay $1,000 per month. And if you need to stop for any reason, then I will unpublish the platform. It'll be unpublished. Your users cannot use it. And you will not be charged. Okay, I'm not going to charge you for the monthly after that. You'll pay just the month you paid. And then you will not be charged for cloud or AI usage because nobody will be using it. But of course, if you sold 20 annual access, to this, you want to use some of that money to pay this. Like, don't, make it make sense up here. Okay. Cloud and AI usage charges are separate, and I'll show you that on a monthly basis. I'll actually pay it. I don't want to say this out loud because my accountant will kill me, but I'll actually be paying this up front for you and then giving you the receipt so you can pay me back for that. Just, I think that's the best way to do it. Yeah, because I want it to be to the penny exactly what is being charged, and I'll be able to track that. You retain all your rights to share your materials, even if they're kind of going through my tech. You're responsible for reviewing the AI before it launches. Like I'm going to build it for you. I'm going to work with you on it, but you need to review it. You need to go through it as a user and go through it as an admin. But speaking of, you will get an admin dashboard. So you will also be able to see how many users you have, how many messages they sent, how many love buttons they pushed, how many playbooks they generated. If there's a playbook option, if you don't want a playbook option, doesn't fit your aesthetic, we won't have it. But you'll be able to see key metrics anytime you want, 24/7 in your admin dashboard so that you can make decisions. There also is a YouTube video generator based on your users' usage. So after you have 2 or 3 users, you can push this button when you go into admin and it'll tell you what videos to make next because it's it's training itself on what people are asking. So you're not going to sit there and look at people's messages. You're not doing that. You're going to get a generated your own kind of YouTube playbook to say, okay, 75% of the people are asking about how to do XYZ. How do they get the first stitch when they're sewing? You're going to make a YouTube video called this about this because that is going to attract the people who have already purchased. So it's really powerful stuff. AI is not perfect, as we all know. There's always going to be a problem with AI. So you need to tell and educate your audience on that. No revenue is guaranteed. I am not guaranteeing you that what's in the calculator will happen for you. It's there to help you see what could happen based on your sales skills and your circumstances. And I will do my best, of course, to help you in general in my ecosystem do a great job of that. You must provide enough source material. Please only do this if you've written something, you've done videos, you have something to give me that is your framework. So you don't have to have a ton, by the way. In fact, on the onboarding, it says five files are better than 50 mediocre files. So like 5 good files are better than 50 mediocre. So, but you need something. I need to have something from you. You must give me timely feedback. I cannot have you pay for it and then go away for 2 weeks and expect it to be done 2 days later. If you do want to pay for it and then work on it later, that is completely fine. You just need to tell me that after you purchase. I need to have that communication so that I can do my planning because this is such an intensive thing. Major changes may cost extra. You can't just come in and say, "Oh, I completely want to do this for another thing. I don't want to do it for this thing I told you I was going to do it for. We're going to retrain it." That is like $8,000. It's a whole nother thing. So probably won't charge you the full 8,000, but I'm going to charge you something. And I just recommend you don't do that. I recommend we get very clear on what you want it to be first. And I can help you with that if you want, for sure. Sensitive information should not be submitted casually. Be very smart about this. Please just read this yourself too. The client is responsible for legal and compliance review. I am not your lawyer. I am not your accountant. I am not your therapist or your spouse. This is yours. I'm providing a service and providing a done for you platform, but I don't have the responsibility of what's on the platform. Now, if I get something and I feel like it's just not as harmful or anything like that, I reserve the right not to work on it. I'll just give you your money back for sure. Third-party tools may change, as we were talking about before. AI is changing on a daily, hourly basis. Something could happen that affects performance. And of course, if it affects your performance, it'll perfect one more time. If it affects your performance, it'll affect my performance at Authority X Pro. So I don't want this to happen, but it's just reality. So we both, as adults, need to know that that's what's up. This is a business transaction. Monthly service can be paused or canceled only according to the agreement. And the agreement is you can pause it at any point. You would not have to pay for something you're not using, but you don't get there's no refunds on, and it says it at the top on the terms and service, no refunds on the 8,000 to set it up because I'm doing the work. And there are no contracts. You don't have to keep it for long, but if you don't pay for it monthly, it gets taken down. So it's no longer active. Okay. And yes, we can do things like transfer domain names. things like that, or I can just create a domain name for you. Authority X Studio can use its own methods and frameworks. Basically, all the secret sauce I'm going to use. There's no sort of you coming back and saying, "Oh, that belongs to me because this is the wrapper to it." It's not. And in the same vein, and it says in such detail in the terms of service, I will not steal your stuff and tell people that I made it. Okay, so that's what I've been ideating on, thinking through. Um, I'm honestly, I probably will just cap it at about 3 people in this pilot. I feel like I can work with 3 people at once, and that would be very, very cool. And I'm looking forward to it. So if you're interested, you probably want to jump in. As I said, if you want to jump in, this happens from time to time. You want to do it, but you don't want to start right away for some reason. All good. You're traveling, you're working on something, you have something planned. All good. Just email me when you sign up and arlanhamilton@gmail.com and say, hey, I just paid, I just secured my spot. It's going to take me about a month to, settle down over here, and then I'll get into the onboarding stuff. If you instead want to take 30 minutes to onboard the stuff, hand it over to me, tell me, hey, I don't need this for about a month or two, then I can be working on it in the background. And I think that's the best scenario if you're busy. But it does really have to do with, are you able to help me help you when it comes to it? And I'm going to move as fast as I can for you, anyone who needs it or wants it fast. Okay, let me know if you have any questions. But super excited to work with the first batch of people. I'll see you soon.